Okay, hi. Welcome back, me, I guess. Around 2 weeks ago, I decided that I had enough of my own bullshit, so, here we are. I made a plan, and a plan is something that John does not normally do, so let's discuss. So I've never really felt like I needed a plan before. In fact, I would say that planning kind of stresses me out. I get a schedule from work, and I just kind of leave it at that. Following the launch of Some of Us, the podcast that I'm co-hosting with my wife. By the way, if you haven't given it a listen yet, now's your chance. We're about 10 episodes in, so barrier to entry is really low. Really digestible, like 40-minute episodes. Links below. And I actually talk about what I'm gonna talk about today in this video in one of the most recent episodes, so there's your way in. Go get him. Okay, anyways, maybe it's because I put so much work into the podcast, initially getting it off the floor, that outside of that, I've kind of just had like zero motivation to be an artist lately. And that kind of sucks. If I was being paid to make art, I'd be fired by now, which is like the short version of what I'm trying to say here. I feel like right now, at this point in my journey as an artist, I need to hold myself a little more accountable. So I made a plan. The podcast right now is on a weekly release schedule, so I figured that was kind of the best place to start. Meaning that every week, Casey and I, we sit down and we record, then there's the edit, and then there's the posting process. All of that happens every week. So I figured, why not try to dedicate certain days of the week, loosely flexible, depending on what my work schedule is like, where I work on specific things, instead of just kind of throwing everything together or just working on stuff when I feel like it. I have this notebook here, and this is a great example of what my planning was like before this process. I literally just have like a long checklist of stuff I need to get done by whenever, I guess. I sit down feeling productive, I open this up and see the huge list of stuff that I need to get done, and I'm just like immediately not into it. It took a while for me to figure out, but I did eventually realize that this was not an effective way for me to plan, personally. Some people really thrive on those, big chunky checklists, but I'm just not one of those people. I need something a little more broken up. Using this approach, as an example, what I'll do is I'll like shoot a video and immediately like sink 10 hours into it. I'll go way too hard, get burnt out really fast, and then ignore the rest of the list for the week. So instead, I'm going to be trying my very best to stick to sort of a broken up schedule. So the idea is to break up all of the things that I want to do every week into like 2 or 3 different parts and then scatter them across the entire week. Maybe not all involving the same thing, but so that there's a really nice healthy balance of things to do every day of the week, and so it all flows along and comes together, really nicely at the end. I'm testing this now, so we'll see how this works. New videos, including this one, are a part of this plan. So if I'm using this video as an example, if I'm sticking to the plan, means that the video will be scripted, shot, edited, and uploaded all on different days. So if future John is doing this right, he's editing this on a different day of the week right now, and he is just doing a great job and should be very proud of himself. Keep it up. So how I have this set up right now, and this will probably change, a little bit every week. Like I said, when they post my work schedule, it's a little bit inconsistent, but maybe that's part of what helps make this work. Everything's sort of scattered and tossed around, but I don't know, I just have a weird handle on it now. I don't know. So I am a fan of digital planning. I have intentionally not been using my old checklist notebook thing. My wife and I, for a while, have been using Google Calendar as sort of a way for us to track our separate and joint schedules and such. So I'm gonna be integrating my new plan into that digital space to make it a little bit easier for me, because I think if there's like a third-party calendar or something, I think it just makes it that much easier for me to ignore. I use that calendar already every day, so I think it would be hard to do that. It's all a trick. I'm just tricking myself into doing work. So the calendar has tasks built into it, so I'm gonna be using that. If we take a quick look here at this week's schedule, you can see that my daily tasks are up there on the top, and what's nice about using tasks is that they won't show up at all on Casey's calendar. They're just for me. So she won't be getting a bunch of notifications and seeing all kinds of, weird stuff on hers. There's also a separate app for tasks on mobile. So all I have to do if I'm not in front of a computer, which is another trick because staying on task in front of a computer is something something I'm also terrible at. I just open it up and I can see really easily, really clearly what it is that I need to do that day. And if I absolutely need to, I can move some things around on there as well. There's nothing really all that fancy about the application. There's nothing extra to worry about. It's really clean. I'm a fan. The only thing that I do worry about with this is that it is kind of easy to move things around on the fly. Unfortunately, that is kind of the way that I have to do this just because my work schedule is so unpredictable. So what I do is I go right in when my work schedule is posted and I add all of that stuff to my calendar. Then I layer on top of that all of the different things that I want to get done during the week, all my tasks, and space them out so that everything's, nice and balanced. The podcast episodes right now go up at 7 a.m. every Thursday morning. So I'm hoping that the pressure of having that deadline to have specific things required for that to be successful will translate across the entire week. Hopefully there's some structure and a sense of accountability with some of the time constraints and stuff mixed in. This process is going to be a challenge, and I'm notoriously terrible at personal challenges, but the difference is that I just kind of really need this one to work. I'm tired of going through like waves of productivity. My downtime between those motivated points just kind of feel like wasted time, and that's not great. This new plan is not insane. And like I said, it's just kind of going on top of all of the stuff that I'm doing for the podcast every week. So there's already kind of a base there to work with, and hopefully continue to develop and maybe add some new things, try some new things. We'll just have to see. But for now, this is the end. I will definitely be making a follow-up video sometime in the future, after I've had some proper time with this plan, so I'm excited for that. Please do definitely check out Some of Us. Casey and I are just having a great time with it, and so could you. God. Bye.